Hey friends, it's Rosalind. Welcome back to our gardens and our tiny farm. Things are slowly starting to come back to life. It's still cold here, but we have some crocus blooming, which is very promising that spring is close. But I've been working on something so exciting out here around the chicken coop. But first, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to all of your kind and generous comments and just for this beautiful garden community. I know there's a lot of new faces around here, so welcome to each and every one of you. 2 weeks ago, I had shared that I want to expand this herb garden. So the last 2 summers, I've grown herbs out here in this tiny little garden. And then this past winter, I was so inspired. I was reading a couple of herb books. I love snipping herbs and just throwing it over the fence for the hens to enjoy, as well as for us to use in our dishes, in our foods. But as I was reading through those books and just learning about all the health benefits that are in herbs, I just wanted to play around with herbs this summer and pack this garden full with different kinds of herbs to make tinctures with, as well as herbal infusions. Is going to be a lot of fun. But make yourself something cozy to drink, and I will just walk you through all of the things that we've been working on in this little garden space. Spring is a time of renewal and new life, which I believe also means it's time to design a new garden or add more space to an established garden. Just after winter, when the soil becomes workable again, but before the plants break dormancy, is a great time to be moving and dividing perennials, and also moving shrubs and trees so they can wake up from their winter sleep in their new home and their roots are ready to grow. It looks quite different without the honeysuckle in front of the chicken coop. I enjoyed it for a few years, but I thought maybe it would give the hens some shade if we would train it up over their fence, because in the summer it can get quite warm in their little field. I did trim back the honeysuckle quite hard because last summer it just kind of bloomed on the top and there wasn't really a whole lot of blooms on the bottom, so we will see what it turns out to look like this summer. I've had a climbing rose behind this little garden shed, and it hasn't done very well because it doesn't get a lot of sun. I wanted to have a climbing rose in front of the chicken coop to kind of train it up over the coop, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to transplant this climbing rose. It has the prettiest blooms in the summertime. I've always been a little intimidated by climbing roses, but 2 years ago I picked up this particular climbing rose at Menards. It was on the clearance rack, so I thought I would just bring it home and see what it's like to grow a climbing rose. It's given me a little bit more confidence in climbing roses, so I'm already dreaming of all the climbing roses that I want to add around the gardens, possibly this summer. I placed this little garden bench back here just last fall, but I found a space where I think I'll like it a little bit better. We used to have a birdhouse that the tree swallows had babies in every spring, but it was getting to the point that I really wasn't enjoying having the tree swallows in our gardens. I love their presence, but they get quite aggressive once they have babies in that birdhouse, and we can't even enjoy picking our strawberries or be in the garden. So the birdhouse now lives on out in the orchard, and hopefully the swallows will enjoy the new placement of the birdhouse. A few weeks ago, I had kind of drawn an outline of where I want the herb garden to be expanded, or how far we want to expand the garden. And I've lived with it for a few weeks, and I've come to a decision. It is time to remove all of the sod. I tried to save as much of the soil as possible, and the hens got to scratch through the rest of it. They love scratching through this for bugs and for worms. The grass has been removed, and now it is time to move out these breaks to create a new border. I probably should have used a hammer for this part, but sometimes hands can work just as well. I had used a shovel to remove all of the grass. Not sure I would recommend that, but it is done. I'm so glad the grass is all removed and we are finally creating a new border for this herb garden. At this point, I ran out of landscaping bricks, so we will have to go back to the hardware and just pick up a few more, but oh my goodness, this is so exciting and I can't wait to design the garden later this spring. This past weekend, I picked up this metal shelf at a thrift store and I immediately thought of the chicken coop door. I'm going to turn the metal shelf into a planter for the chicken coop door and, of course, plant some spring pansies in there. Doesn't this color just speak spring to you? I feel like it's the perfect addition. What do you think, friends? Each fall, when I remove the summer annuals from the chicken coop planter, I like to add in an evergreen so we can still enjoy color in here, and then in spring dress it up with flowers that can handle frost like pansies or violas. It gives us color to enjoy until it's time to plant summer annuals in here again. Last spring, I had seen these adorable solar lights at Tractor Supply, but when I went back to purchase one, they were sold out. When I stopped at Tractor Supply a few weeks ago and I saw they have them in stock again, I immediately grabbed one. I just think it finishes the look around the chicken coop.